Hello, and you guys hear that? That's right. That's a nerd shout. Oh. We are here with our very first episode of our Agent Carter after show right here on the nerdSHOUT Network. I am your host, Kevin Becker, and joining me are the rest of the nerdSHOUT team, who are...
Hey guys, this is Demetris Hartman. Welcome to nerdSHOUT.
Hey everybody, it's Keyla Teixeira.
Mark Cirillo, nerd.
So thank you guys very much for joining us for the very first video we're doing on our brand new network, nerdSHOUT.
nerdSHOUT! Okay.
That doesn't have to happen anymore. And we're here to talk about Marvel's newest show, Agent Carter. So, we've all watched the first episode and the second episode because they released them at the same time, which was fun and I think probably a saving grace. But before we get to that, let's go
probably
ahead.
Why they did it.
Yeah, probably why they watched the first one.
You guys gotta have a lot of content. So here you go.
So, it's a limited series, so we've got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. Our first thing I want to ask you guys, we're going to have a couple of quick topics. We'll talk about it, and then we want to hear what you guys have to say. But first, one of the big mysteries of the show happened at the end of part 1. Episode 1, which was Jarvis is on the phone with Howard Stark. He says she's a good choice. She has no clue. What do you guys think they're talking about? What does Howard and Jarvis have?
Demetri has a theory.
See, I think
Demetri always has a theory.
Demetri always has a theory.
It's in Humans, guys.
It's in Humans.
It's in Humans.
I think it's about the creation of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think that Howard Stark is totally trying to get the ball rolling. He wants to create another team. He wants to create another agency.
Totally what it is.
It's probably.
Well, that being said, we talked about this earlier. Is that canceling out the one shot? Because at the end of the one shot,
S.H.I.E.L.D. already exists.
S.H.I.E.L.D. already exists. And I'd be really disappointed to find out they're canceling the one shots because the one shots are awesome. They're fantastic.
The one shot created the show. Without the one shot, we wouldn't have the show.
And I was reading an interview actually today with some of the show creators, and they were talking about that the show doesn't take place before the one shot, doesn't take place after the one shot. It takes place concurrent to the one shot.
Right.
That it's gonna end in a similar time that the one shot happens, which is kind of weird because they edit shots from the one shot into the opening flashbacks of the first episode.
Yeah. Well, they're already in First Avenger as well. Some of those shots are already in First Avenger.
Yeah, no, but it's her, I think...
looking at the file,
opening the file, and then kicking the one dude through the glass or whatever it is. It's from Agent Carter one shot. So it's weird, and I don't want them to take it out either, but... I don't know.
And I loved Peggy's character in the one shot. I love.
She was such a strong female character.
I prefer Peggy Carter into one shot than Peggy Carter into Agent Carter.
Yeah, this is like a little gripe, and me and Kayla kind of discussed it, that we think that the character was really strong and really existed in First Avenger and in the one shot. And for some reason, she feels more diluted in this. It's very...
Well, but this is the very beginning of her, you know? You're
No,
right,
it's
because
not.
you're right. They showed the Captain America. Yeah, you're right.
She already fought to
true.
be in the SSR in the first place.
You're
to
right.
be,
that is weird.
She become an agent under Tom Lee Jones. I can't remember his name right now, the general's name. But to get to where she was, and she did have a position of respect, albeit it was still tough because she was a woman in the 40s in the Second World War, but she was still kicking ass and taking names at the time, you know? So, oh my god, our mascot.
Oh yes, we didn't introduce Daisy.
We haven't introduced Daisy.
Our mascot.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
nerdSHOUT mascot. What's up?
nerdSHOUT Daisy. She's wearing like a Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman collar.
Okay, well,
it's amazing.
She's a proper lady, so it's actually Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and Batgirl.
Here's the thing. If I look back on First Avenger,
not a perfect film, but it was a good setup.
I'm not even saying that, but like just looking at Peggy was the most successful when Erskine was alive.
Yeah.
I think he was her biggest champion. Because Tommy Lee Jones has problems with her the entire movie.
He does have issues.
She helps Steve go in and rescue all the Howling Commandos and everybody, and he yells at her for that. And Tommy Lee Jones is a better rounded character than the men of Agent Carter as well. So
that's another issue. They're all total boneheads.
But we'll get to that when we get to the review section.
Let's talk about the slapstick humor.
Oh my God!
From the 1940s.
We're not ready for it yet.
Screwball comedy.
Everyone dances like crazy. No,
you went in the 40s. But before we get to that, before we get to our major reactions, let's talk about the other big mystery that's coming out of it is Leviathan.
Yeah.
So,
That's
who
why
do you guys?
That's why Leviathan getting me really excited to dance.
This is your getting
I
excited
thought
for
you were
Leviathan
like
dance?
typing a message.
This is
typing a message to the Leviathan.
Because
they have the typewriter.
It's the 1940s, and I'm very busy.
1940. Let's get the typewriter to be a robot.
Gotta communicate with the big bad guy.
I have a pet peeve about that, though.
Oh?
If we're talking about Leviathan, my
Okay.
number one pet peeve is that why reveal this now? I mean,
Why reveal it from the very beginning?
why reveal it from the very beginning? I mean, it makes sense in a way that they don't have the full season, so they have to reveal it now. But it kind of pissed me off. I mean, I would have liked more of a suspense build up to it before revealing that it is Leviathan.
Smaller revelations.
Well, I think they're also. I have to say, because I think you said earlier like something about like that you felt the show moved too fast or whatever.
The first episode.
But I feel like they're learning from the mistakes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was that
it was
moved
way
too
too
slow. They had to wait for something. They had to wait for like the movie, something to happen in the movie for it to really pick up. And I think they really wanted to hit the ground running with this show.
Yeah, and I feel like I would have been more mad if it had been. Here's these guys who stole all this stuff from Howard Stark's basement. They're just dudes. They're schmoes.
They're just
and they managed to dig into his tiny vault and dig into his vault and take all his stuff. And then we find out 3 episodes down the line,
his bad
they were Leviathan. Now it all makes sense. I would have felt cheated if it had been just like, this is Jim, and he stole all the stuff.
He's
He did.
he's a mom.
That explains everything.
I like the fact that it's Leviathan, because Leviathan don't actually have that many appearances in the Marvel Universe at all. They have like about 14 appearances in all the comic books.
Really?
Like 14, 15 appearances in the comic books.
Wow.
They are very interesting. They came out of the Eastern Bloc. They're a result of the Eastern Bloc. They're a result of, communist Russia. But they really appeared mostly during the Cold War. That was when they were at their height. And most of their activity was happening. We're not in the Cold War yet. Nowhere near us being in the Cold War. So the timeline for me feels a little weird, a little awkward, but I'm really happy that they are introducing Leviathan, because Leviathan can be this good bad guy to fill in that gap between Hydra slowly infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D. Because up until that point, they thought Hydra was absolutely dead. So I think that they're not going to interact with Hydra.
I don't think so.
At all from this point onwards. We will know. Maybe we will see Zola.
Possibly.
I would love
in
that.
the series.
I would really love to see Zola.
He's great.
It would be great. But I don't think Carter knew that Zola was joining
Maybe,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
I don't know.
Did she?
They didn't mention that, but
we say Madam Hydra was going to be showing up.
Oh no! So Madam Hydra is a known affiliate of Leviathan. So it could be really interesting if they do introduce her through here. And okay, this is like the big thing. This is like the big thing that popped in my mind and was crazy. In the one shot for Agent Carter, the MacGuffin or whatever, the reason why she ends up going out on the mission, taking this mission, is because she finds out that there's the Zodiac key. She finds the Zodiac key, and that's what she retrieves. Now, 2 of the original members of Leviathan, Orion and Magadan, were original members of the Great Wheel of Zodiac. Now, the Great Wheel of Zodiac is like a group that was brought together by Da Vinci, and his Zodiac sign was Aries. And he brought together all these different bad guys and good guys. Like the whole Zodiac represents the whole balance between good and evil in the Marvel Universe. And so does the key. With these characters coming in, and you also have Whitehall and Von Strucker, who were also original members of the Zodiac, the Great Wheel of Zodiac. Will we be exploring the whole Zodiac storyline as well?
Maybe that's the big suspenseful secret that they're gonna.
Yeah, maybe that's what it's really
coming
up.
Because I don't recognize what he drew in the sand.
I don't.
That's
but I don't know.
I
if
think
that
that
is
might be
zodiac.
it.
Is that a
I
zodiac?
have
I
no
think it's a
idea.
zodiac sign.
If you guys know what that have theories of what
Yeah,
that thing
let
is,
us
use
know.
that freaking
If
hashtag.
anybody
about it.
Hashtag
recognized it.
nerdSHOUT.
Yeah.
Shout. Because
Maybe
I-
he didn't even finish it.
Maybe he didn't finish the sign, but I was like Agent Carter said, she was just like, "Is that a heart? Like, what are you drawing there, buddy?"
Yeah.
But if it were obvious, like this is a thing that I have a problem with a lot of people who review things. Like people look at it and be like, "You didn't finish it. It's not recognizable. I don't know what he's doing." But if he'd finished it and drawn something, you could immediately go like this. It would be like,
It
"That's
would've
too
been
easy."
too easy.
But
Way too
literally,
easy.
people
And
can't be
we'd have
pleased
nothing
anymore,
to
and
talk
it makes me
about.
tear out what's left of my hair.
How about, well,
And that's what they
what's
did
the
right, I
whole-
think.
Who are they though? These people that are working for the Leviathan, they have all
They have
of
the
them?
laryngectomies, which I
All
love.
of- which
Yeah.
is freaking great. But I mean, where did the Leviathan get these people? How do they like?
But I think the thing that I was reading about Agent Carter is that I was reading an interview with Haley Atwell and with a couple of the showrunners, and they were saying if it gets picked up in the future, they can move forward in time. You can have the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. I think the beauty of having Leviathan now, even though it's not technically chronological, is that it's a good thing for us to see because I want to see more in the future
Right.
of all of the things that Hydra did. Because
So they replace Hydra kind of.
in that like, ooh, we need a big bad guy. They're drawing focus. Hydra's able to get a foothold.
Yeah.
Then I would love to see, flash forward however many years to see what Hydra did, like how they orchestrated the death of Howard Stark. Like I would love to, like, because in Captain America it says that they kill him. I would love to see that story.
Oh
in the
yeah,
future.
that's a great.
That's
that would
what's
be
really
amazing
great.
if they were able to do
That
that.
would be
Yeah.
cool.
Well, the
That'd be
thing is, also in the comic books, you have Roxxon Industries
Yeah.
in the show, and so Roxxon. It's also implied in the comic books that Roxxon were the ones who were involved in Howard Stark's death.
Oh yeah.
So what if Roxxon is infiltrated through Hydra?
The CEO
Anyway.
of Roxxon, I can't remember the actor's name, but
Ray
he's-
Wise.
Yes.
Yeah. Who I
The
love
Devil,
from
Grim
Twin
Reaper,
Peaks.
and so many other.
I love
things.
Ray Wise.
And
Leland Palmer, right?
He
oh, he just knew so much. Like he gave the SSR detectives just so much information about Howard Stark and
So
like
chill about it.
it was just so chill about it. Like how does he know all this stuff? you
Also,
know?
can
Like,
Howard
that
Stark
is-
not ever have a partner that doesn't turn out to be bad? We've had Ray Wise, we have Anton Vanko. We just got all the bad guys.
Oh my
Just a
God,
really-
Anton Vanko!
really bad judge of
Boy.
character.
I would-
He's a horrible
I
judge.
just
Yeah.
so
Good
many
gut feeling on
Easter
everybody.
eggs and so many great Easter eggs though.
But
That was
that's
one of the best.
that brings me to that's a perfect segue to the biggest question I think of having watched these technically 2 episodes back to back is you've watched the opening. We've seen what they're presenting to us as please watch our show. What do you think of what you've seen so far? What do you hope is going to happen as it goes? Give us what's your review of the show? What do you want? What do you think?
Okay, well, I know that you guys, some of you had definitely problems with the first episode. Maybe like the second episode a little bit better. But I just want to say, like, pilots are really hard.
Yeah.
It is really hard to make a great pilot because you have to get so much exposition out. You have to introduce all of these characters that are going to be series regulars, and so it is really hard. And the second episode was really great. But I do have to say that it's so beautifully shot. It is like the production
gorgeous.
value is so
It is.
high, and it is so hard to do period pieces.
Yeah, because it is a
And-
period piece.
And
it is.
for TV, like it's just so expensive. And
like
so
Mad Men set
so
in the
it-
Marvel Universe.
right,
now, isn't
and it looks amazing, and so that made me very happy. And she's great. I still think she's just like riveting, and I just love kick-ass leading women. Like I was like the Bionic Woman, like Wonder Woman, Alias, like. I love those shows, and so this is, and Buffy, like, so this, like, for me,
That's-
is
Buffy!
You're
There
hurting
you
right
go.
now because-
That's a great character.
Because
Yeah.
Agent,
We discussed
because,
this
yes,
as well.
we did. Okay.
We totally discussed this.
Peggy Carter and Agent Carter.
In the one shot, or
in just like right after that, episode 1, episode 2.
Yeah.
She isn't as strong as I would have liked. She's being downgraded by the people around her. She's not being.
Well,
treated
but
right.
that's the
she's
period.
But I
constantly
loved-
berated.
That is a period, but like comparing.
why she puts up
comparing
with it after everything she already did. with
Exactly.
Captain America is what I don't
Exactly.
understand.
She
my-
should not
in
have to
my-
put up with any of this. Sorry, I'm
In
getting
my
really excited
opinion,
right now.
Settle. In my,
Surprise.
In my honest
Diva
opinion,
defense.
in my honest opinion, I mean, like she's already proven herself. What's the like? How are these
Right.
guys and
Still
these
asking
men
her to make copies.
treated like-
Yeah, why
She's-
does she
she-
still have to be kind of like the underdog in the story that has to rise
Exactly.
again? Why does she have to do it so many times?
It's so ridiculous, and like you said, it may
Well,
be
but
just
that's
a time
also
period.
like,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
it's a time period. Well, like, cause like you said, Mad Men earlier, like that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Christina Hendricks is insanely smart, so she's like the head secretary. Like, she's still like
Yeah.
not allowed to like,
Also-
you know, like.
But she knows how to
they
play
all
the
have-
system really well.
Right, and they all have to like jump through the hurdles until they, you
Carter,
know.
Peggy doesn't know how to play the system.
She really,
That's the thing. Well,
she's not doing it well. And then I have to say one thing I really hated was like, I'm like, and I get it, she's commenting on the time and the people and the men, but I'm like, you really used female trouble as a reason
Yeah.
to not.
Oh,
A lot of
my
people. That's
God.
like one of the biggest issues.
Oh, was it?
If
Did
you
other
want to
people
be
mention that?
if you want to
Yeah.
continue being
Oh.
disrespected by the rest of your coworkers,
Then
that
you-
is the excuse that you're gonna use.
Exactly.
And I thought that was like such a stupid
She's
low blow
used-
That was really bad. I
as a
thought,
choice.
for
That's such a
writing,
poor
yeah.
choice. But that's where it comes in for me as well. I think that all the male characters are completely uninteresting. Not a single one
I'm
is.
sorry, Chad Montgomery.
I'm
I was just gonna
I'm
say,
sorry.
Chad
but, like,
Murray is always interesting.
Here's what I'm
His
gonna say.
character is not three-dimensional. He is a douchebag, but he's trying to be represented as a hero, and I have no respect for him.
But
I have no respect for any of the male
And
characters.
this is why the problem with
that-
pilots is like there's not always time to develop
had
them
2
all.
episodes, though.
And that's true.
But
But
2
here's what I'm
episodes,
gonna
and it's
say.
constantly the same problem.
I need to say this because it is important to me. Watch the first season of Buffy again.
That's true.
It's not great.
It's not. No, it's not.
That-
a
It's
good
No,
not
show.
great,
same.
but Buffy
This is what I'm
showed
saying.
up and she was just like, everybody doubts me, I'm gonna kick your butt, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's-
Buffy
that's-
was.
Yeah, but she's
Hands
also
down.
a '90s girl.
Well, they also respected
Yeah.
the fact that there was the movie before that. Like, they kind of took it into consideration. Even though there was, like, a huge time gap between the movie and the series, they still took it as she's an established character, and this is who she is. She kicks ass, and as soon as she goes in, she doesn't have to put up with anyone's crap. And that's what was great about the one shot. She did not put up with anyone's shit from the very get-go. As soon as it started, and it picked up 1 year after Captain America died, with 1946, or because the war ended in 1945. I'm guessing Captain America ended in or he died.
Which
in
I have to say, I'm
1945.
glad that they did
But-
that because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. almost never uses clips from like the,
After,
the
yeah.
movies
From the
at
movies.
all. And
No,
I like
because
that
it's not as
this
linked
tied
in that way.
I guess.
Right, just that's a small thing I did like, but
I guess I'm also partially willing to give her a little more slack for, she's for going about things the way she is, because she does make the line of when Howard recruits her, she says, you understand the irony that they're accusing you of being a traitor, and now I'm being a traitor to prove that you're not.
Yeah.
Like, she's going against the SSR to accomplish her goal, so it's not like she technically could look at all of them and be like, listen, motherfuckers.
and I think she's learning she kind
This
of
is
is
it.
maybe
I'm laying down the law.
and she might be like learning like that the way in is to let them keep underestimating her, and she can literally find out more information that way. Another thing is just practically writing wise, it might have been like they need a place for her to go for an ongoing series, like, or I guess it's
Right, I guess if they're
but-
planning on
we
continuing it
Right,
after
it's
this.
harder.
As far as male characters go, we mentioned that the male characters were just like not.
I like
very-
Susan. I like him.
Not very great. I'm sorry, Chad Montgomery. You're so cute. But
Oh, come on.
Because
But-
that's a deciding factor.
yes.
I have
but
no idea.
but the thing is,
yeah, this isn't on the
but
CW.
Jarvis-
Yeah, I've seen crap.
No.
Jarvis is my favorite character in the
Jarvis-
world.
I was in Okinawa.
Jarvis and Peggy's dynamic and relationship was one of my hands down my favorite thing about both those episodes.
If you have a snarky butler who likes to go on adventures, I'm on board.
Yes. I think everyone is 100% on board the Carter Jarvis
He's
trade
just
right
so
now. That
hilarious.
They're doing
perfect.
something right.
They've got me with Jarvis. So,
great.
now, one of the things that we like to do here at nerdSHOUT and everything that we do is we like to talk to you guys. And that's one of the things that we're really looking forward to with this channel. So, we want you to tweet us questions on Twitter using the hashtag nerdSHOUT. I say it louder because it's all caps.
Shout
And
it out
we do
loud.
have a question. I'm going to
Shout it
go
out loud.
to the Twitter box.
Woo.
It jumped networks.
La.
And our first question comes from at
Copyright.
Hune Linda. And Linda asks,
Stop kidding in his grill.
I need space. What was your favorite spy tactic used by Agent Carter during the premiere? I
You already
want
picked this.
that watch. I want it. I want the lockpick watch. I want it in my life.
There's so
It's the
many.
best thing
There
ever.
were so many good things, but I loved the old school, which is like just reminded me of like 70s TV shows where it's like the lipstick. It's like
Yeah,
where
the knockout
which
lipstick.
she can put on and it apparently doesn't
Oh,
hurt her,
yeah.
but then kisses somebody and then it goes out. I love stuff like that. And then disguises always get me.
No,
Yeah,
my
I love
thing
disguises.
was her disguise.
Her
Her
disguises were
blonde,
beautiful.
and then her.
Nice.
God.
Just
her-
everything was so perfect.
She's a beautiful
She has such a
She is
beautiful,
really gorgeous.
a real woman type body.
But-
Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
just
gorgeous.
like round and just.
And the thing is, everybody in the show knows it. Because how many times in those 2 episodes did somebody comment on she should be an actress or a model? Like the other
Yeah.
women on the show.
Those legs on you, girl.
Yeah, you could be. Like, oh yeah, I'm not an actress. I
No,
don't
no,
have
she's
any
like,
talent.
I don't
You
have,
could
I
be
don't
with
have a
those legs.
voice. I
Yeah.
don't have
Oh
a
wait,
good voice or something.
one of my favorite lines of the show. Oh, that's Sarah. She's a slut.
Yeah, Angie. Oh my god.
And
So I mean, there's
I
a
want
lot
the
that we can
telephone
nitpick.
operator to be in more too.
Right, I love her.
I loved her.
Love the hat.
I'm waiting for
Love
Dugan.
the hat.
I need some Dum Dugan.
But
But
they even put in the
Next
trailer
episode.
that line. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I know.
She just
Dum
needs to
Dum
have more
Dugan
to
is the next
do.
episode. Guess
I want her to
who's
go on an
on?
adventure at some point. She's like the Ed
Agent
Candy
Carter.
from Wonder Woman. Like,
but
you
I
know
think,
what? I quit my job. Let's go on an adventure. That's it.
But I think the thing is, Agent Carter maybe has some things that we all disagree with. Like, I thought the first episode felt rushed and cramped. I loved the second episode. I loved it. And I know that everybody has their different issues with it, but at the same time, it's got a lot going for it.
Yeah.
Like, we came at it, and we've been sitting here like, this is what I don't like.
It's
this
also
is what I
because
don't like.
there's been so much hype and
Yeah.
so many expectations.
But there's a lot of fun stuff there that we can appreciate, and there's gadgets, and there's a butler. So
There's James
a
Darcy.
chick. So thank you guys very much for joining us for the very first Agent Carter After Show right here on nerdSHOUT. Before we sign off, we do want to say some thank yous to some people who have helped us build this network. Real quick, I want to thank, checking the Twitter box just because I don't want to mess it up, Shield Radio, which is at Shield Radio, and you can check out their Helicarrier podcast at helicarrierpodcast.com. Those guys are wonderful. We have a great relationship with them. If you love what we do, if you love talking about the MCU, and especially their television stuff, that's a great place to go. They're very, very cool.
Yeah.
Also, thank you to a couple other friends of ours. We want to thank Ward Warriors. We want to thank at Stand With Ward, and we want to thank at Shield Brazil.
Yeah.
So all of these guys have been so supportive to us. We love them. Go follow them on Twitter. While you're doing that, though,
since you're already on Twitter.
since you're already on
already on
Twitter, head on over and follow at nerdSHOUT, which is our channel.
Hashtag nerdSHOUT.
You don't follow hashtag nerdSHOUT because that's not how Twitter works.
That's how you tweet us questions.
Yes, but follow at nerdSHOUT on Twitter. Check out nerdSHOUT on Facebook. And while you're watching this, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button right there in the corner. We've got after shows that we've got planned. We have all kinds of really great material that we want to bring to you guys. But we also want to bring the stuff that you want to see. So if you have questions for our after shows, if you have things you want us to do, hey, review this comic book.
Yeah.
Tell me what you thought
Let
of
us
this
know.
movie. Let us know, comment, and also hashtag nerdSHOUT right there on Twitter so that we can find you. Because if you hashtag nerdSHOUT, we will find it easier.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you guys very, very much. We will see you next week with the second Agent Carter After Show, which is technically the third episode. So technically.
Yeah.
And we're really, really excited. So thank you guys very, very much, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Nerd.
Shout!
Nerd. Cheers.
I don't have any water still.